My boyfriend told me to skip my best friend's wedding to attend his work retreat. He said that's how it's going to be once we move in together, so I should get used to it now. I, 27F, have been with my boyfriend Ethan, 29M, for 4 years. We've been talking about moving in together for the past year and finally found a place we both love. We're supposed to sign the lease next month. Both our families were really excited about this milestone, and we had a celebration dinner a few weeks ago with everyone. My best friend since childhood, Sophia, 28F, got engaged last year and set her wedding date for late September. This date was picked over a year ago, and I've been her maid of honor from day one. We've been planning together for months, and I was so excited to stand beside her on her big day. Earlier this year, Ethan got promoted at his company to a senior position. It's been great for him, but the hours are intense and he's under a lot of pressure. His boss announced 2 months ago that there would be a mandatory work retreat for all senior staff. The retreat was supposed to be in early October, but last week Ethan found out it had been moved up to the exact same weekend as Sophia's wedding. I was sympathetic when he told me, but explained that I obviously couldn't miss Sophia's wedding. I'm the maid of honor, and she's been my best friend for over 20 years. Ethan got quiet and said we needed to talk about priorities. He told me the retreat was mandatory and that it would look bad if he showed up without a +1 when everyone else was bringing their partners. I said I understood, but that Sophia's wedding was non-negotiable for me. He then said something that completely threw me. He told me that once we move in together and eventually get married, his career needs to come first because he'll be the primary breadwinner. He said I need to start getting used to putting his professional obligations above my personal relationships now because that's how our life together is going to work. I make good money at my job, but he does earn more than me, so I guess that's what he meant. I told him that was ridiculous and that I wasn't missing my best friend's wedding for a work retreat. He got angry and said I was being selfish and that I clearly didn't care about his career advancement. He said everyone at his company would judge him for showing up alone and it could hurt his reputation. I said that was his problem to deal with and that if the retreat was truly mandatory, he should go alone and I'd meet up with him afterward. We've been fighting about this for 3 days now. He's been giving me the silent treatment and sleeping in the guest room. Yesterday, his mom called me and said she thinks I should reconsider because Ethan's career is at a pivotal point right now. She said Sophia would understand if I had to miss the wedding for something this important. I told her respectfully that I wasn't discussing this with her and that it was between me and Ethan. Last night, we finally sat down to talk, and he basically gave me an ultimatum. Either I skip the wedding and come to the retreat with him, or he's reconsidering moving in together. He said if I can't support him now, then we don't have a future. I asked if he was seriously asking me to choose between him and my best friend, and he said no, he's asking me to choose between him and one day. I told him that one day is one of the most important days in my best friend's life, and I've committed to being there for her. He walked out and went to stay at his brother's place. I've been getting texts from some of his friends saying I'm being unreasonable and that compromise is part of being in a relationship. But I don't see how I'm the one who needs to compromise here. Sophia set this date over a year ago. His work retreat got moved. I've tried calling him, but he's not answering. I love him, but I'm not missing Sophia's wedding. Am I being unreasonable? Has anyone dealt with something like this before? Update 1. Thank you to everyone who commented. I read through all of them, and they really helped me see the situation more clearly. A lot of people pointed out issues I'd been overlooking, and that really made me think. After I posted, Ethan finally agreed to meet me at a coffee shop to talk. I got there first and was waiting when he showed up with his mom. I was honestly shocked that he brought her. When I asked why she was there, he said she wanted to help mediate and find a solution that works for everyone. I told him this was between us and his mom shouldn't be involved, but he insisted she stay. His mom started talking about how marriage is about sacrifice and putting your partner's career first, especially when that partner is the man. She said her generation understood this and that modern women don't know how to support their husbands properly. I was pretty stunned. She then suggested that maybe I could go to the wedding ceremony, but skip the reception to drive up and meet Ethan at the retreat. The retreat was 3 hours away, so this would mean leaving Sophia's wedding by 5 p.m. at the latest. I said absolutely not. That's when Ethan said that he'd been thinking about it, and maybe we weren't compatible after all. He said he needs a partner who's going to prioritize his career and building a life together over friendships. He said Sophia is just a friend and will be in my life regardless, but he's supposed to be my future husband, and that should mean more. I told him we're not engaged, and at this rate we never will be. I said if this is how he views partnership, then he's right, we're not compatible. I told him I wasn't going to the retreat, I was going to Sophia's wedding, and that I was done discussing it. His mom started crying and saying I was throwing away a good man over stubbornness. I got up and left. When I got home, I called Sophia and told her everything. She was furious on my behalf and told me I deserve so much better. She also admitted that she'd never really liked Ethan much and always felt like he was trying to separate me from my friends. Looking back, I can see it now. He would always make comments about how much time I spent with Sophia or get annoyed when I made plans with friends. I texted Ethan and told him we needed to take a break. He responded saying a break means we're broken up and that if I walk away now we're done for good. I said fine. I'm heartbroken, but also relieved if that makes sense. Sophia's wedding is in 2 weeks and I'm going to be there with bells on. I'll update after if anything else happens. Update 2. The wedding was yesterday and it was absolutely beautiful. Sophia looked stunning and the whole day was perfect. I'm so glad I was there for it. I can't imagine having missed it for anything. But something did happen that I need to update about. The day before the wedding, I was at the venue helping set up when I got a call from an unknown number. I answered and it was Ethan's brother Ryan. Ryan and I have always gotten along well and I was surprised to hear from him. He asked if we could meet up for coffee and talk. I was hesitant but agreed. We met up that evening and what he told me was honestly shocking. Ryan said he needed to tell me something that had been bothering him. Apparently, Ethan had been talking to his family about our future, and some of the things he said were concerning. Ethan told his family that once we moved in together, he expected me to cut back on my work hours and eventually quit to focus on taking care of the home. He said he wanted kids right away and expected me to be a stay-at-home mom. Ryan said Ethan also mentioned that he felt like I was too independent and spent too much time with my friends, and that living together would fix that because I'd be more focused on him and our home. I was floored. Ethan and I had discussed kids and agreed we'd wait at least 5 years. We'd also talked about careers, and I made it clear I love my job and don't plan to quit. He'd always said he supported that. Ryan said he thought I knew all of this, and when he realized during the retreat argument that I clearly didn't, he felt like he had to tell me. Ryan apologized for not saying something sooner. He said he thought maybe Ethan had changed his mind or would talk to me about it, but after watching how Ethan handled the wedding situation, he realized his brother was planning to just push these expectations on me after we moved in together. Ryan said he loves his brother, but he couldn't in good conscience let me walk into that situation blind. I thanked Ryan for telling me and he gave me a hug. He said I deserved better and that he was sorry his family had treated me that way. The next day at the wedding, I tried to just focus on Sophia and being present, but my mind kept going back to what Ryan told me. Ethan had been texting me leading up to the wedding saying he missed me and asking if we could talk after the retreat. After hearing what Ryan told me, I blocked his number. I also blocked his mom. The wedding was incredible. Sophia's vows made everyone cry and the reception was so much fun. During my maid of honor speech, I got a little emotional talking about true partnership and how Sophia and her husband support each other as equals. Sophia hugged me so tight after and whispered that she was proud of me. I'm staying with my parents for a few days to clear my head. I feel like I dodged a bullet, honestly. The man I thought I knew isn't who Ethan actually is. Update 3. It's been 3 weeks since my last update. Ethan has been trying to get in touch with me through mutual friends since I blocked him. I've told everyone I don't want contact with him. Last week, his best friend Alex reached out and said Ethan was really struggling and wanted to apologize. He asked if I'd be willing to meet Ethan one time just to talk. I said no. Alex kept pushing and eventually I agreed to meet Ethan in a public place with Alex there as a buffer. I picked a restaurant near my office where I knew my coworkers sometimes went for lunch. We met yesterday after work. Ethan looked terrible, like he hadn't been sleeping. He immediately started apologizing and saying he'd been under so much stress with the promotion that he wasn't thinking clearly. He said he never meant to make me feel controlled or like my career didn't matter. He said he'd been talking to a therapist about his behavior and realized he was repeating patterns from his parents' marriage that weren't healthy. I listened but didn't say much. Then he said he wanted to try again. He said he'd changed and understood now that partnership means equality. He said we could move in together and he'd never pressure me about my career or friendships again. I asked him about what Ryan told me. His face went white. He admitted that he had said those things to his family, but claimed he didn't really mean them. He said he was just talking and going along with what his mom was saying because it was easier than arguing with her. I asked if he'd ever planned to actually tell me any of this, and he got defensive. He said we would have worked it out naturally once we lived together. That's when I knew for sure I made the right decision. I told him there was no going back. I said I didn't trust him anymore, and that even if he had changed, I wasn't interested in finding out. He started crying and saying I was the love of his life, and he couldn't lose me. Alex tried to mediate, but I just stood up and left. Ethan followed me out to the parking lot and grabbed my arm, trying to get me to listen to him. I pulled away and told him not to touch me. A few of my coworkers were nearby and saw this happen. One of them asked if I was okay, and Ethan finally backed off. I got in my car and left. That night, Ethan sent me a long email that somehow got through even though I'd blocked him. It was pages of him begging for another chance and saying we were meant to be together. He said he'd do anything to fix this, including couples counseling. I didn't respond. The next morning, I got a call from Ryan checking in on me. He'd heard about the meeting from Alex and wanted to make sure I was okay. I told him what happened and he sighed. He said Ethan had been telling the family that I was being overdramatic and that we'd be back together soon. Ryan said his mom was encouraging this and telling Ethan to keep trying. Ryan said he'd tried to talk sense into Ethan, but his brother wasn't listening. I'm meeting with a lawyer next week. Ethan and I aren't married and don't live together, so there's nothing legally tying us together, but I want to document everything just in case. The lawyer said the parking lot incident could potentially be grounds for a restraining order if his behavior escalates, but right now it's more about creating a record. I'm doing okay. Some days are harder than others. Sophia has been amazing, and I've been staying at her place a few nights a week. Her husband is great, and they've both been so supportive. I'm also back in therapy myself, working through everything. I hope this is my last update, but we'll see. Update 4. I really hoped I wouldn't need to post again, but something happened yesterday that I wanted to document and also get advice on. Ethan showed up at my apartment last night. I don't know how he got past the building security, but when I looked through the peephole, he was standing at my door. I didn't open it and told him through the door to leave or I'd call the police. He started pleading with me to just talk to him for 5 minutes. When I refused, he started yelling. My neighbor across the hall opened his door and asked if everything was okay. Ethan turned on him and told him to mind his own business. My neighbor said he was calling the police and went back inside. That seemed to snap Ethan out of it, and he left quickly. The police came about 10 minutes later, and I gave them a statement. They said since he left when asked and didn't try to force entry, there wasn't much they could do, but they documented everything. They suggested I get a restraining order. I called my lawyer this morning, and we're filing for one this week. I also found out from Alex how Ethan got into my building. Apparently, Ethan had made a copy of my key fob at some point when we were together. I'd given him my spare once when he was dropping something off for me, and he must have copied it then. I'm furious. I spoke to my building management, and they're deactivating that fob and issuing me a new one. They're also adding Ethan to a list of people not allowed in the building. I'm scared, honestly. This whole situation has escalated so much further than I ever imagined it would. Sophia wants me to stay with her until the restraining order is in place, but I don't want to put her and her husband in danger if Ethan shows up. My dad offered to stay with me for a few days, and I took him up on it. He got here this afternoon, and we've set up a plan. We're also looking into security cameras for my apartment door. I never thought Ethan was capable of this. The man I dated for 4 years would never have acted like this. I don't know what happened to him, but I'm grateful I got out when I did. Final update. It's been 2 months since my last post, and I wanted to give everyone closure since so many of you have been supportive and given me great advice. I got the restraining order approved. Ethan didn't contest it, which surprised me. My lawyer said he probably realized it would make things worse if he fought it. The first few weeks after the restraining order were tense. I was constantly looking over my shoulder expecting Ethan to show up, but he didn't. I later found out from Ryan that Ethan's company found out about the restraining order and put him on a performance improvement plan. Apparently, having a restraining order against you doesn't look good when you're in a leadership position. Ethan ended up leaving that job and moved to a different city about 4 hours away. He's working for a smaller company now. Ryan said Ethan has finally started actually working with his therapist and has admitted he had some concerning controlling behaviors. Ryan thinks the whole situation was a wake-up call for Ethan, but also said I should still be careful and keep the restraining order in place. I agreed. I've been doing really well, actually. I got a promotion at work last month, which came with a significant raise. I'm looking at buying a condo next year. Sophia and I have been spending a lot of time together, and I've reconnected with some friends I drifted away from when I was with Ethan. Looking back, I can see how much I'd isolated myself without realizing it. I went on a few dates, but nothing serious. I'm not really looking for a relationship right now. I'm focusing on myself and my career and my friendships. It feels good. His mom tried to reach out through Facebook a few weeks ago with a message about how I broke her son's heart and ruined his life. I blocked her and didn't respond. Ryan apologized for her and said she's still in denial about Ethan's behavior. The restraining order is good for a year, and then I'll have to decide if I want to renew it. My lawyer advised me to renew it regardless of whether Ethan has contacted me or not, just to be safe. I'll probably take that advice. I'm in such a better place than I was 6 months ago when all of this started. The wedding situation feels like it happened years ago now. I'm grateful to Sophia for being such an amazing friend and to Ryan for telling me the truth. I'm also grateful to everyone on Reddit who took the time to comment and give me perspective when I needed it most. If you're reading this and you're in a relationship where someone is trying to control you or isolate you from your friends and family, please know that it's not normal and you deserve better. Trust your gut. I almost ignored mine, and I'm so glad I didn't. This will be my last update. I'm closing this chapter of my life and moving forward. Thank you all again for everything.